All right, welcome to the Retro Game Club podcast. This is episode 50, the big 5-0, season 2, episode 18. So we made it this far, and with me as always is someone who's hoping for a Game Boy Advance Micro, Hugh.
Yeah, that Game Boy Micro is just too large.
Yeah, at that point it would have to be like a Game Boy Quantum, maybe?
Yeah, definitely.
So what's going on?
Yeah, that's a good question. What is going on? So I think I'm getting near the end of Final Fantasy VII Remake. I don't think it's a very long game. I looked at like howlongtobeat.com, and I think they said it was like 30 hours or 40 if you do like a completionist run.
Mm-hmm.
And like I'm at the point in the game where it basically says, so I'm not like spoiling any plot things. Like everyone listening to this podcast has either played Final Fantasy VII or decided Final Fantasy VII is not for them. Right? I assume at this point you've fallen into one of those two camps.
I'm still going to play it, but spoil away.
Yeah. Well, it's not spoiler because it's a plot point in the original game.
Oh, okay. Yeah, true. Yeah.
So there's a point in the original game where you invade Shinra Tower, and then that's like a big mission. You have to like figure out how to unlock the elevators or whatever. I don't remember all the details of the mission. But I'm at the point in the game where it says something like, once you enter Shinra Tower, all side quests will be closed. Like, that means it's the end of the game now.
Are you going to side quest it up a bit?
Yeah, there's like a screen that keeps track of the of all the side quests, and I have like 4 or 5 that are blank on there, so I haven't found them yet. So we'll see. I was doing a couple last night. And probably do a couple more. I'll probably be done with this thing by the time... I'm hoping to be done with it by the time the Ys 4 remake comes in.
When is that?
It's the 10th or 11th.
Okay.
So end of next week is Ys 4 remake.
Nice. We still have to do an Ys episode.
Yeah, we could do that. All right, man. What have you been up to?
Well, my buddy Rick helped me out with my, I have the GDEMU and the, I think it's pronounced Phoebe, SD card upgrades or mods for Dreamcast and Saturn. So he helped me out with some SD cards. They're not complicated to do. They're time intensive because they only support certain formats and certain types of ISOs and only like the MS-DOS, 8x3 file names and yada. It's just kind of a nightmare. There's actually programs created just to make directories to do all this stuff for you. So that actually really helped with my with your game of the week you picked.
Okay.
So my Dreamcast and Saturn got some love this week. And I have been playing that Maneater game a bit more, that shark game on PS4. It's pretty good. I'd say it's pretty entertaining. It's a bit grindy, which I didn't expect for some reason. Because you have to grow from like a pup shark to a teenager to an adult and discover all this stuff and eat a bunch of things and a lot of murder. So it's fun. I would say it's worth it. And that's really about it. And I just wanted to give a shout out to our listeners. Last many episodes, we've gotten a bunch of feedback that wasn't really meant to be read on the show, whether it was an email or Facebook, just saying thanks for doing the show and some nice compliments. And I just want to say, hey, thanks for sending that stuff out. It really motivates us to keep it going, We made it to episode 50, so hopefully we do a 50 more.
Yeah, thank you.
And I guess we should just dive into the news. Not too much this week.
Yeah, let's see here. I probably should actually scroll to where the news is. Insignia project aims to resurrect Xbox Live for the original X. Is Xbox Live retro now?
Yeah, I figured it was retro enough.
Yeah, I mean, it's 19 years old. Is that when Xbox Live started?
Something like that, yeah. And so, you'll be able to play some online Xbox game soon, apparently. I just love that people do stuff like this, make like Fantasy Star Online servers and stuff like that. Which I guess Fantasy Star Online just got re-released.
Yeah, or they got a sequel, Phantasy Star Online 2. Not to be confused with Phantasy Star Online Episode 2.
Oh, okay, that was confusing. Okay.
Right. So there's Phantasy Star Online has like 3 or 4. Did they do a 4th? They definitely did 3 episodes. But never had a Phantasy Star Online 2.
And now they do.
Now they do. Yeah, that would be a good topic if we interviewed someone who's still running like an old school Phantasy Star Online server.
Yeah, absolutely. Or Xbox server. Xbox Live server.
Or these Xbox Live ones, yeah. I've never used Xbox Live. I've never owned a single Xbox.
Neither have I. Introducing the Sega Triple Bypass. Have you ever heard of this thing?
No, I have not. Not until this very moment right here.
So this is on Retro RGB, and this is a very difficult mod for your Genesis, and I guess somehow it'll work in a Nomad or Master System as well. And apparently, this bypasses. I don't know how this actually works, but you do some soldering directly to like the RGB and the audio outs of the motherboard of the Genesis, and this somehow gives you better 240p video. It amplifies the video signal and the audio signal. I guess it really makes the Genesis 2 shine. It's a little bit less noticeable on the Genesis 1. And I think this is mostly an open source project, but you can, you don't have to build one yourself. You could just buy one. So if you just want the best Genesis possible without getting, the analog Genesis, this would probably be the thing for you. But you would have to be really good at soldering.
It looks like it, yeah. So it's about $40. It's not too expensive. Yeah, audio and video improvements, it looks like.
And it works. I really looked into this. It actually works with the 3DS. Because I thought, like, well, if you're bypassing...
You mean the 32X?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, pretty neat.
Yeah, I am not going to be trying that.
No.
New Phantasy Star English patch took 14 years. So this is a retranslate. There's a lot of these. Basically, all the Phantasy Star games, maybe not all of them, but one for sure, like the first 3 at least, have like English retranslations to fix, I guess, to make them closer to the original script. As it makes sense. I mean, I've seen, like, again, you don't want to, like, the thing with translation is you have to change things, right? If you just take Japanese text and literally change it word for word to English, you get gibberish.
That's called Google Translate.
Right. And that's obviously, so, with translation, there's a lot more to it than that. But this has a lot of things. I mean, it's a lot because you have to make, like, the menus in Phantasy Star were all, like, 4 characters, something like that. Like the attack menu, that kind of stuff. It was all, like, very short words. So, like, this is a pretty big overhaul because you're actually, like, spelling out longer words, doing better translations, not, like, abbreviating the names of all the items. Like, some of the items you didn't really know what they were because they were, like, heavily abbreviated.
That is funny.
And then just other kind of translation-y changes they did. I don't know.
Out of every video game they've made into a movie, I'm shocked that Phantasy Star is not a Netflix show or a horrible movie yet.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's popular enough. Yeah. I don't think most people know it. I mean, we know it, and at least half the people listening to the show have probably played Phantasy Star. But yeah, I don't think it's... I think if you just, like, asked people on the street what it was, nobody would know.
Yeah, not like Sonic or something.
Yeah.
But at least there's a Battleship movie.
Wait, did that actually happen?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I forgot if that was real or just like a thing that was rumored.
This next one is just a little. It's not really news. Just a little thing I wanted to slip in there. If you have a Everdrive N8, which is the Nintendo NES Everdrive, they just released a new firmware patch you could put onto your SD card, and it gives you some new mappers and stuff like that, and boot to last game options, and just little quality of life features and some bug fixes. So just want to throw that in there for you Everdrive owners out there.
Let's see if you're planning to do some RPG development. There's a new Humble bundle that is like assets for RPG games. So tile sets, music, some kind of good stuff here. I actually saw this in my inbox and did not buy it yet.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. There's a lot here. I mean,
yeah, there's Tokyo Bar, kind of like Japanese city, various sprites, and desert. If those
like
are the settings, yeah.
Little assets like wizard hats and axes and stuff like that. All 2D sprite type stuff, yeah.
And then there's a city pack that has kind of like an Earthbound look to it. Mines, another Japanese city one. Yeah, a lot of good stuff in here.
Yeah, and you could get it all for, if you want it all, it's $30. But I mean, you get lots for just $1 if you just want to spend $1.
Yeah, yeah. The higher tier includes like a lot of music, which depending what type of game you're developing may or may not be useful. Like if you're doing a game for a console, like an old school console, then a bunch of MP3s are really not going to help you at all.
Yeah. Pretty cool though. And there is a lot of time, like 2 weeks left on this. So I usually mix and release the show the day after we record. So if you're listening to this soon after release, you have plenty of time to get it.
Mm-hmm.
And my favorite thing of the episode, King's Quest 6 AGI version. So AGI is the original, what's it like adventure game interpreter?
Yeah, something like that.
That like the original King's Quest and Space Quest and all that were coded in. King's Quest 6 used a different engine. So this guy during lockdown decided to finally finish his AGI version of King's Quest 6, and this links you to a YouTube video. And it's pretty slick. He did a great job. It really looks like, the King's Quest 1 through 4 aesthetic.
Yeah, because 5 looks a lot better, but 5 is still based on that same engine, right?
Let's see.
Because it said, when I was looking into it, it said 6 was the first game to change the engine. 6 looks, 5 looks so much better than 1 through 4. It seems like a completely different game engine, but I guess it really isn't.
5's not listed in Wikipedia to be AGI.
Okay.
But
I just
Wikipedia
yeah.
Could be wrong.
Well, no, I could be wrong too, because the part I read said that 6 was a new engine, which of course doesn't mean that King's Quest 5 was not also in some other engine.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Like King's Quest 5 on the NES looks a lot like the game that he just did this downgrade for.
Mm-hmm.
Have you played King's Quest 5 on the NES?
I booted it up and played it for 5 minutes because it's one of my all-time favorite games for, on like DOS, but not on the NES.
Okay.
It's impressive they got it on there though.
Well, yeah, but it looks like this demo video here.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you played it on the computer, King's Quest 5?
Oh yeah, I have. I have like every version of King's Quest 5 here.
That's
I
cool.
have a floppy version here with the original box art that's all like weird. Pool of Radiance, Grand Theft Auto. Oh, here it is. Oh, it's 6. No, here's 5. Yeah, I got a King's Quest 5. Of course, only you can see this. Like, I got this one. This is the Windows 3.1 version.
Yeah, that's a great version. That game, I had so much fun playing that game, specifically the desert part.
Yeah,
Speaking of,
you sure die a lot there, but yeah.
Yes. Speaking of floppies, 30 years later, a lost Days of Thunder NES game recovered from 21 floppy disks.
Yeah, this is pretty amazing. So
This is incredible.
this was a Tom Cruise movie, right?
Yes,
Okay, I've never seen it.
you don't have to.
It's Top Gun,
Ye-
but in cars, right?
Pretty much. It's a redemption. I got in a car accident. I'm gonna get back up and win it again type story.
Oh, okay. So it's Rocky 3 in cars.
Yes,
Okay.
very much. Yes. This is insane. So there was a hard drive backup to 21 disks. So it wasn't like the game took 21 floppy disks. It was back in the day, if you had, a 10 megabyte hard drive or something and you wanted to do a backup, you either had to do it to tape or to many floppies. And so this was labeled PC Tools 5.1 backup. And every floppy disk, I think it was 5.25, was readable. So they were able to get a version, or they were able to get an executable of PC Tools 5.1 backup and recover this. And then in it, just randomly in there, was this Days of Thunder game that was never released. A Game of Thunder game was released for the NES, but it wasn't this. Apparently, people were bidding for it, and this lost. And it does not look awesome.
Well, there was a Days of Thunder NES game. I thought there was never a Days of Thunder NES game, or there is. I'm getting confused. There's a PC game called Days of Thunder, and then there was also an NES game, but it's different than this one. You're saying?
Yeah, let me double check this.
This is the part where I look behind me and see that I have Days of Thunder for NES on my wall here.
Yes. So there's a Days of Thunder game that was on Amiga, Atari, C64, NES, everything like that. It's even on iOS if you want to play it on your phone. And it's a bit more 3D looking than this one. This one does have some 3D elements. It's definitely an unfinished game, definitely a prototype that works. In the show notes, I am linking to the GitHub that publishes the assembler code. Right now, though, that GitHub link does not work. They say they're cleaning it up before they actually publish it.
All right.
Which I didn't know you can. I guess it's just like private right now, and they're going to make it public soon, I guess. So, yeah, pretty random. That is definitely a random story. But who knows? Maybe we'll get a cartridge version sometime. Do you need to buy a cheap Wii?
No, we did talk about this last episode about the Wii being a pretty cheap system, and someone apparently this week on Twitter posted pictures of Wii's being sold in Japan for $1.
That's crazy.
Now, I actually went and followed, I think he may have taken down the tweet, so maybe this is like a dead article now. Because, somebody replied to the tweet and said, I guess you can't read Japanese. Those characters there mean it is a junk system.
Oh, so it's a broken Wii.
He read the 550 or 55 yen or whatever, but not the label that says, for parts only.
But still, $1 is still pretty good, I think.
Right. I mean, I wouldn't pay $1 for a broken Wii, but I guess if you go to Midwest Gaming Classic or whatever, right? People sell systems for parts, but $1 is still pretty low even for a full parts system. There's controllers that are broken that are $1. I see those all the time, but never I've never seen a $1 Wii system unless it was, I guess, extremely damaged.
Yeah, I mean, the PS2s are going for more in this article. Which I think one of the funniest things I ever did for myself was, it must have been 2004. I decided I wanted a PlayStation 2, but I couldn't afford one. And so there was one for $30 broken on eBay. And for some reason, I just had a feeling about this one. He said like, "Oh, it spins up, it just doesn't play," and so
Uh-huh.
I just cleaned the laser and had a $30 pretty nice PlayStation 2.
Okay.
I guess this next one is the news article of the episode.
Yeah, Sega announces. People were talking like Sega was going to make a hardware announcement this week, and people are like, "That's it, Sega's getting back in the hardware business. Dreamcast 2, blah blah blah." Like, I think I knew that was not going to be the case. Instead, they announced the Game Gear Micro. And I swear, if this was, honestly, they should have published this on April 1st.
Yes.
It's a miniature Game Gear, and by miniature I mean really, really small.
1.7 inches.
Yeah, this is like Dreamcast VMU size. And there's 4 variants, and they're each like $50 or $60, and they each have 4 games. Game Gear games. Which are, like Sonic the Hedgehog on Game Gear is pretty good for a Game Gear game, but it's still Sonic the Hedgehog on Game Gear,
Yeah. I've never played Sonic and Tails.
It's good. Like, as Game Gear games go, it's really good. It's not a game you want for $50 right now.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't want the Game Gear port of Gunstar Heroes. Maybe if you love the Shining Force games, the one bundle that is 3 Shining Force games, and then another game that I'm not familiar with.
What a strange thing. Who's gonna...
Okay. Oh, it's Puyo Puyo, just under a different name. Okay. Like, maybe that's what you want, is a little tiny system you can play Shining Force on. Okay.
But you have to have tiny fingers and a microscope.
Right. They've already announced a screen enlarging enhancement for it.
Yes, which is a magnifying glass that attaches to it.
I don't know, man. This looks so awful.
And again, it has removable batteries. I think AA or AAA. So you can't even charge this thing with USB. Yeah, 2 AAA batteries. Oh, and can also be powered by USB micro cable, but still, you can't just plug it into USB and charge it up. Come on, we're past that. We're better than this.
Yeah, there's no chance I will ever buy one of these, and it's literally on clearance for $1, and even then, I would probably have some reservations.
Yeah, I mean, Sega did great with their, latest Genesis Mini. I guess you can't hit it every time. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyhow, no word yet on a U.S. release, I don't think, but I don't care.
Yeah, and, listeners, if you're interested in this, please let us know. Just let us know your feelings about it. Email at retrogameclub.net.
It's not as good as the Coleco branded Sega handheld that was out like 10 years ago.
That has to be a show topic, I'm telling you.
It was called, like, Coleco Sonic is sometimes the name for it. But it was like this little system about the size of a Game Boy, a little bit bigger than a Game Boy Micro, that had like 20 Master System Game Gear games. It was the company, the holdings company that owns the name Coleco, licensed the games from Sega, I guess, to show that Coleco's back in the game business, folks. Sorry. I still can't get over all the, like, Atari is back headlines from a few years ago. Those still bother me.
Yeah, they're going to be shipping that console out soon, so I will have a useless console sitting there.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I guess our topic of the week?
Yeah, we're just going to do a totally random topic here.
It was hard to find something that was 50 to kind of celebrate our 50th episode.
Right, we talked about various 50 themed things, and most of them were
not great.
Were not great, or would require a lot of work.
Yeah.
Like, hey, let's do the 50 greatest games starring Mario list or something, right? Like something where it's like, oh, that's going to take a whole bunch of time. So it's amazing for like not being able to go anywhere still. Illinois, I mean, Illinois is kind of like ahead of other states in a lot of regards, in terms of like flattening the curve or whatever it is we're doing. But like everything is still pretty much closed. So we still haven't, like, there's still not much to do, you know, like you're not going to go to the movies. Also, there's nothing in the movie theater. So like it's such a double whammy for movies right now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So, but yeah, you know, we'll get back to normal life at some point. But until then, we're going to be reading old game magazines.
Pretty much. So this is EGM issue 50.
Yep. So if you want to read along, you can go out to archive.org and get EGM issue number 50. It is huge. It's both a number of pages. We're not going to review every page because that's work. My previous like off-topic tangent was really about how like it's weird how I've never had more free time in my entire life and also less free time. Like I don't know how it's managed to work out that way for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been working so much more, and with kids being around all the time, it's like at 8 o'clock I could finally do something, but I'm too exhausted to actually do something.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Like my oldest kid, her last day of school is Friday. Or my youngest kid, sorry, my oldest kid's already done with school. My youngest kid, she's in 6th grade. Last day of 6th grade is Friday. And they said, oh, you know what we're going to do? If you want to say, you know, goodbye to the teachers at the end of the year, we're going to do a school drive-by. This is what they called it in the email. I'm not. They said, school drive-by to see like I see drive-by and wave to the teachers or some nonsense. But I'm just thinking, you got to come up with a better name than that school.
Yeah. How did that get past legal?
All right. So we're going to drive by this issue of EGM. I took notes on a few pages. Do you have any?
I have some mental notes, and a lot of them you hit on. Can we just start out by talking about there's a company called STD that has a lot of ads in here?
Yeah. We sold their controllers at the store too. So there's a company that makes controllers called STD, which is the worst name for a company ever. Was it a translation issue? I don't know.
There are a lot of controller ads in this issue. A lot of third-party controller ads.
Yes, there are. And, you know, some of that was, remember, the Sega Genesis shipped with a 3-button controller, and the whole focus of this magazine is Mortal Kombat. So EGM 50 came out right when Mortal Kombat home version came out. So I think that's why there's so many controller ads, because it's, you know, you've got Mortal Kombat, you probably need a second controller, even if you have, you know, a Super Nintendo with the requisite number of buttons. You're going to need to buy a second controller, or if you have a Genesis, you got to buy a 6-button controller. So yeah, tons and tons and tons of controller ads.
Yeah, and it really shows the state of the business, the really Genesis taking over Nintendo at this point, because it's all, like you said, it's all Mortal Kombat, and then like Super Nintendo has Yoshi's Cookies. You know, what are you gonna, as a teenager, what do you want? You know,
I still haven't played Yoshi's Cookies.
I've tried. I do not like it.
What is it, like a baking game?
It's like a puzzle type game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, give it a try. You might like it. Not for me though.
Yeah, it's possible. I like some puzzle. I like a lot of puzzle games. So, but yeah, I mean, the focus of the magazine, there's a lot of like editorials about, you know, Mortal Kombat and the fatalities. And one of the things I wrote down here is it seems like half of this magazine is Mortal Kombat move lists. So lots and lots of that. Some of my favorite sections in these is always the reader mail. And I mean, some of it's funny, like someone asking, you know, hey, how come I can't get Echo the Dolphin on Super Nintendo? That's a good one.
Do we
Someone
really
else
have to
is
explain this?
Yeah. Someone else is complaining about Super Mario All-Stars, about why would you buy that game? Do you already have Mario? Why would you want to buy a remake of a game? By the way, the first 3 new games that I'm playing this year are all remakes.
It is the year of remakes. A few other outlets have been talking about that.
Yeah. Yep, I did the Persona 5 remake, I'm doing Final Fantasy 7 remake, and then I'm going to do, like I said, East 4 remake. And that could be it for remakes for me this year. We'll see. It
Did you do
when
Link's Awakening?
Yeah. I did Link's Awakening last year. So, I guess I'm not going to do that one again this year. I like Link's Awakening, but it's not really a game I could be perfectly happy not playing Link's Awakening again.
Yeah.
Those dungeons are... Their dungeons are much more brutal than I remember.
Speaking of Mario All-Stars and Mortal Kombat, they rate Mario All-Stars much better than Mortal Kombat on Super Nintendo.
On Super Nintendo, yeah. Well, no kidding. I also like they have a few letters from people complaining about they don't have enough Lynx coverage. Got to have more Lynx coverage. Lynx is doing great. Why don't you guys cover it? And Lynx was not doing great in 1993.
No, not by any means.
So let's see. What else did I write down that was kind of funny here?
Samurai Showdown, all 9s for the reviews. That was a really impressive game. But of course, they're rating the Neo Geo version of it.
Oh, okay. I was about to ask. Because the Super Nintendo had a Samurai Showdown, but I thought it was a little bit later than 93. Maybe not.
And still scaled back a little.
Okay, there you go. They really liked the Game Gear version of Mortal Kombat, which makes me wonder, did they play the Game Gear version of Mortal Kombat? Have you played that?
No, and I will never.
So it's a very admirable programming effort. Not going to argue about that. Like, I could not pull... there's no possible way I could develop that game. But it's just not fun. I might like the Game Boy version a little bit better just because it has the ability to play as Goro.
I'm flipping through this, and there's a page I missed before that. I can't believe I missed this. EGM. So each month they had a top 10 list of games.
Yeah.
And you could vote for it. But it's through 1-900 numbers, which is 99 cents per minute.
Yeah.
And then you have to dial in which game you're voting for out of the 48 games they have listed here.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Wow.
So so it's $1 or $2 to vote for one of these 48 games.
That's wild.
What did people vote for, though? So, according to their 900 number, the top games were mostly variations of Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat.
Mm-hmm.
With Sonic
and Final Fight CD.
Final Fight CD, okay. Yeah. Flashback for Genesis did pretty well on there, too. Let's see, what else did I put down that was funny in here? Saturn rumors. Did you get to that section where they talk about the Sega Saturn?
It was a little bit ago I flipped through this, so I'm flipping through right now. Sega unveils 32-bit Saturn system.
Yeah, so there's 2 different pages that talk about the Saturn in here. One of them says it will have, the term they say is, full compatibility with the Genesis. And then another page says they're undecided on a cartridge slot, but it will play all Sega CD games.
Oh. It should have done both of those.
Yeah, right. It had the cartridge slot. I know it's not the exact same size as the Genesis, but it could have been.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah, we'll play Sega CD discs. Whether it can play carts is unknown. Of course, on the other page it says, totally will play every Genesis game. They also talk about Columns 4 coming out for Genesis soon.
Yeah. No teenager wanted that.
Probably not. No, definitely not me. Let's see what else is on here. There's another game that I thought was Vaporware, but then I found out that the game just changed titles. So we'll get to that.
I was about to say that there was no TurboGrafx at all in here, but there is a Super CD-ROM game, Bomberman 94. One of my favorite TurboGrafx games of all times is in here.
Yeah. TurboGrafx was pretty close to dead at this point. They have a section called like games in Japan that we wish would come out to America, and that's like half TurboGrafx games.
Yeah.
They have a thing here about upcoming 3DO games. So it says a list of 3DO licenses and stuff you're going to totally get on the 3DO, and about half this stuff I believe never came out. Such as
That's crazy.
The Seventh Guest Part 2, The 11th Hour. So that definitely did not come out for 3DO. Battle Chess and Dragon's Lair both came out because I own both of those. Shockwave, no. This thing called 3D Football, I believe, was a no. Star Trek The Next Generation, I think, is a no. Pretty sure that was a no. But stuff like CPU Bach and San Diego Zoopers and the Animals and Mad Dog McCree. That's the kind of stuff you would get on early 3DO. You did get Madden on. You did get a really good Madden game on 3DO, of course. But not that 3D football thing they were showing.
Yeah, sorry, I'm still flipping through here.
Oh, that's fine. They have a review of a upcoming Sega CD game called Midnight Serenade, which, looking at the screenshots, I believe is Mansion of Hidden Souls. Which would also end up being a Saturn game, too. You would probably not like that game. It's a pretty simple, like, you're in a haunted mansion and you just have to, like, find objects in the mansion.
No, thanks.
Yeah,
maybe I'll try it around Christmas. Or maybe I'll try it around Halloween.
We could do a ROM hack of it to make it a Christmas mansion.
ActRaiser 2, it has a 2-page spread.
Yeah. They get interview with Yuzo Koshiro there, too. Who is using some sort of glamour pose.
Yes, that's definitely a glamour shot.
Yeah, it's like he looks like a K-pop boy band member.
This, A Day in the Life of EGM, so it's it's a 4-page article about what it's like working at EGM, and it looks pretty annoying.
Yeah, a lot of 80s hair still at the EGM office. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know, 93, I guess not everyone had moved on to...
They're not grunge yet.
Yeah, well, actually, 93, grunge was almost over already. You know, it was only, like, popular for a week.
Oh.
So, yeah, I mean, you know, that's the thing. Like, behind the scenes at EGM, I guess as a reader of EGM, you're thinking, like, the people writing this are, like, people like you, maybe? You know what I mean? Like, it's like, well, this is other, like, 20-year-old gamer dudes. That must be who's behind all this, right? And of course, it's not. I mean, these are people who've been in publishing, like, a long time.
Yeah. I'm reading this this contest here where you can win. What it says is you win a Super Baseball 2020 arcade cabinet, but what I see is you're winning a Neo Geo cabinet. You could put any cart in there. It doesn't have to be Super Baseball 2020. That's a really cool contest.
No, they're super gluing Super Baseball 2020 into that Neo Geo.
Yeah, solder it to it. Yeah, you don't see contests like that anymore.
EA Sports games, big EA Sports section in here for all the 94 branded games coming out. And what else did I say that was kind of noteworthy? As you get towards the back, that's where it's all like the really spammy ads. You know, the really shady, kind of sketchy vendors.
I loved those as a kid because there'd always be like the Japanese page, and I would just see all these games that I either never heard of or I just thought was totally different because it was from Japan and I really wanted like a Super Famicom or a Mega Drive just because it seemed different, even though it really wasn't.
Somewhere in here is a preview for Dennis the Menace, a game that was just featured on Angry Video Game Nerd. Did you see that?
No, I didn't watch that one yet.
Yeah, looks bad.
These quick shot controllers, I don't know if any of our listeners are aware or remember quick shot controllers. I do not remember these, but they're oddly shaped stick controllers with like a Super Famicom button layout and color pattern, plus some flight sticks. Oh, I should mention also, I forgot to mention this at the top of the show that my buddy Rick that helped me out with those SD cards, we also traded some computer equipment, and I got myself a almost unused flight stick out of it. So maybe some TIE Fighter will be in my future.
So I found one of the pages of someone selling the Japanese games because, well, because you'd mentioned it. Sorry, I'm looking up to see one of these games actually exists. They have a game on here I've never heard of.
Oh, like it's a scam.
Well, or it's just like a bad... Yeah, I don't think this is a game. All right, so they have a page here. It's 187 from a company called Game Shock. And they have Super Famicom and PC Engine games. One of their PC Engine games is a game called Ding Dong, which I don't believe is a game, unless it just has a completely different name. But it's like, it is pretty, like, it is kind of a ripoff. Like, they have Street Fighter 2 Turbo for Super Famicom for $100. Of course, it's a game you can buy in stores in the US, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, everything in it is just super scammy. Super Shinobi 2 for Mega Drive CD. I don't believe that's real either. 3x3 Eyes was a real Sega CD game.
Yeah, that was real.
That was real.
Very strange movie. What did you say that one was? Super Shinobi?
Super Shinobi
3?
2 for Mega Drive CD. Super Shinobi 2 is Revenge of Shinobi. No, I'm sorry. It's not. It's the other one. So Super Shinobi is Revenge of Shinobi. So then Super Shinobi 2 is what we would call, I think, called Shinobi 2 in the US. So yeah, Game Shock, and then the next page after it is a company that's called Japan Video Games.
I like that name. It's pretty good.
Yeah, why not? Cash on delivery available. And yeah, they have most of the games on their page I've actually heard of. So I don't see anything that seems too scammy.
Wow, was Samurai Showdown number 93? 1993, yeah, July 7th. I didn't realize it was that late. But yeah, this is, EGM was my magazine when I discovered it. I dropped all other gaming mags for it. It's just, I think because at the time when I discovered it, it was the magazine that covered TurboGrafx the most.
Okay.
And I think after EGM, I moved on to Next Gen, if I remember right. Which I don't think I actually bought them. I think I read them at Barnes & Noble and just put them back.
Oh, yeah, we hated people like you.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, we'd kick you right out. Yeah, I was like a diehard game fan. That was my go-to magazine.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't see that. I really checked if that is on the archive.org yet.
Game Stuff. That's a great name for a game shop that has some ads in here.
Yeah. They've got games and they've got stuff. Is that the line from Parks and Rec? All right. right. Anything else about EGM number 50?
No. Let me just flip to the last 2 pages here. Oh, one last thing. In the next issue, coming in October, a whole new look. I guess they changed up their style at EGM around that time.
Really? EGM 51 archive, hold on, .org.
Got to see that new look.
Yeah, I'm curious now. Looks the same.
So, again, even within their own magazine, kind of vaporware.
Yeah. Looks the same. Has a preview of the Jaguar. And, yeah, there you go. Looks exactly the same.
That's funny. All right. There you go. EGM issue 50 for our 50th show.
Yes.
And we got some Game Club games we played.
Yeah. I've actually played both of them this week.
Nice. So, yeah, mine was Kabuki Quantum Fighter, developed by HAL America. It came out in America in January 91 and just before Christmas 1990 in Japan. And takes place in 2056. And your name is Scott O'Connor, but apparently your ancestor has a Japanese name, and he was a very famous Kabuki actor, a legendary Kabuki actor, I guess. And you download your brain into, they go out to say this specifically, binary bits. Not quantum bits, not qubits, but binary bits. And you take the form of a Kabuki fighter, and you whip people with your hair, and you're pretty much a robot, right? And so you also have chip weapons, which is like, you know, kind of a pea shooter type thing, some bombs, you know, stuff like that. And I really like this game. I thought it had a cool soundtrack. I thought the play mechanics were pretty good. A pet peeve of mine, which this has, is games where your character stops when they attack. You know, just keep running.
Yeah.
So it does do that. You attack people with your hair or one of your chip weapons. And yeah, you heard me right. You whip people with your hair. And but it actually looks pretty cool. And I would say this is a combination of like Ninja Gaiden with some Bionic Commando type elements. The grappling in this is very nice. You could grapple onto certain walls, not all walls like in Ninja Gaiden, but just the certain ones. And then there's like hooks and other things you could connect on, or you can jump and hold on to and flip from and jump to other platforms. Each level has, you know, a boss stage, and I wouldn't say this is too difficult. You definitely have to learn each stage. You could beat it in about, 30, 40 minutes if you, really start memorizing it. I would definitely say play this game. One thing they really don't tell you is if you hit pause during a boss fight, you could trade your chips, which is kind of like in Mega Man energy for different weapons, your quantum weapons, for health, or vice versa. I thought that was a nice little thing they did there. And then if you go to GameFAQs or IGN, there's a few opening screen codes you could put in there to like choose different levels to start from and stuff like that. So what did you think of this one?
So yeah, I pretty much liked it. I had a real hard time figuring out the collision box though. Like you attack with your hair, but it makes it kind of hard to like line up and hit the enemies right. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yep.
Like, I really struggled trying to just hit the enemies. I guess, having played through Shantae recently, like, you also do a hair attack, but you attack directly in front of you. Whereas here, you're attacking, like, a little bit above you. So you have to really, like, line it up right.
And if you duck and attack, you don't whip your hair, you punch,
Yeah.
and it's not as long as an attack. So you have to be ready for that, too.
Right. You have, like, the world's stubbiest arms.
Yes.
So, yeah, the duck attack is kind of useless. So, yeah, I struggled with just kind of getting the mechanics down. But, yeah, like, the jumping and grappling was all really good. The graphics are great. I think they're great for an NES game.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely looks good. Music was all right. Yeah, I mean, overall, I liked it. I didn't play all the way through. It's, yeah, I don't like Ninja Gaiden that much. I always maybe it's unfair to compare it to Ninja Gaiden. That's kind of the closest game I could describe it to. So
I think it's fair.
yeah, it's the closest, and yeah, it was all right. I overall liked it. I don't think I played a lot, but it was good.
Yeah, you're a Scottish Kabuki fighter.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, so I would definitely say, listeners, please play this one. I don't think it's as hard as Ninja Gaiden. It seems a bit more fair, and you do get a lot of I forget if they're hearts or something. Whatever gives you more life. A lot of enemies drop those, so it's pretty fair with that. But yeah, let's move on to yours.
Yeah, so I did a game I'd kind of urged to play recently, Virtua Fighter. I played the 32X version because I have it, and played it with my kids a little bit. It had been so long since I played the game that we were pretty much evenly matched. There was really no real. I definitely did not have a big advantage over my kids. That's for sure. Because man, I pretty like I forgot kind of like how to do most of the moves, so it just became like a button mashing, like playing Smash Brothers to me.
Yeah.
So like it was kind of fun. I sort of remembered the code to play as Doral, which you can do in the 32X version. I don't recall if you can do it. I think you said you may have played the Saturn version.
Saturn, yeah. Sorry, go on.
Oh yeah. I don't recall if the Saturn version has the play as Doral.
I don't know. Yeah.
This kind of doesn't matter because Doral is not like really that much better than the other fighters.
Could you play him in the arcade?
No, this was a code in the 32X version.
I was going to say, yeah, I started on the Dreamcast because I got that working first. It wasn't, just vanilla Virtua Fighter. It was like TB something, some different variant of it. And that was fun, pretty impressive. The Dreamcast is an impressive system. But then I got it going on Saturn. And yeah, it's a fun game. I did button mash as well. And those kind of 3D games without an analog stick are just... They're definitely in an in-between phase in gaming history,
Yeah, I mean, it's not like there are better... Like, it wasn't long before you had much better looking fighters than this. Polygonal fighters, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, Virtua Fighter, I think it holds up fairly well graphically. I think, like, 2 years later, you got Battle Arena to Shinden, which looks like a lot better. Except, well, less than 2 years later, you got, like, stuff like Battle Arena to Shinden that were big improvement, and then Tekken was, like, an even bigger improvement.
Mm-hmm.
This was kind of the game that kicked off that genre.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember the first time seeing this in the arcade, I think Tilt Arcade, and it blew my mind, Definitely wasn't good at it back then. I'm definitely not good at it now. I don't even think I know any combos in this. Any special moves or anything.
Yeah, I mean, I knew a few. Back in the day, I knew more than I know now, obviously. There's also like a 2D version that was made for the Genesis that holds up. That actually holds up really well too. And then like the moves, like the combos and the moves, a lot of that stuff was just lifted into Shenmue. I felt like if you could do like Shenmue's slower, it's not because it's supposed to be like more realistic fighting than Virtua Fighter. But a lot of the combos and stuff kind of carried over.
What is the difference between the 32X port and the Saturn port?
Just graphics, really. Right? I mean, the Saturn version looks a little better. But honestly, that 32X version looks really, really good. I mean, the 32X is really like... I guess it's a system, like, I don't really understand 3D programming. I probably knew the math to do 3D programming, like, 20 years ago. I don't anymore. I could probably learn it. But, like, the 32X is like a system with just a huge amount of potential. Because the games on it that look good look really great. They're borderline Saturn quality. And in some cases, like, Mortal Kombat 2 on 32X is way better than Mortal Kombat 2 on Saturn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm watching a video of this now. It looks great. Not a huge difference.
Yeah. So it's a really good. It's just a great port. I mean, so yeah, I think you could do so much more impressive things on 32X. That would be kind of a fun system to learn to develop for one day.
Yeah.
Like when I have even more free time. All right, you want to tease what we're going to talk about next time?
Yeah, I was just gonna go with Space Harrier, an all-time classic.
All right. Also on the 32X, among other systems.
How about you?
What did I put down? Oh, Galaga 88, something that is on the TurboGrafx Mini.
Yeah, one of my all-time favorite games as well. My favorite Galaga game, for sure.
Okay. Yeah, for me, it's like that one or the... have you done Galaga Arrangement?
I don't think so.
That one's really good, too.
So, sorry, right now I'm going back and forth on YouTube between Virtua Fighter in the arcade and Virtua Fighter on 32X. And it's the same two characters playing, and 32X looks great.
Yeah.
Kind of surprising. Pretty cool. If you play any of these games or any games we've ever played, or you're up to anything retro, please shoot us an email @retrogameclub.net, or hit us up on Facebook, facebook.retrogameclub.net, or even Twitter @RGC Podcast. And our buddy Zach takes care of all of those. And
yeah, just real quick, I'm looking at like a comparison video of Virtua Fighter 32X versus Saturn. And the biggest difference really is the backgrounds. The sprites, like the actual fighters don't look all that different, but the Saturn backgrounds are more detailed and definitely more color depth. So that's kind of the big difference.
mm-hmm.
So yeah, all right. Emails. We got a couple here. I'll do the first one. So let's see. Majors wrote in, mentions he also remembers the surprise Sega Saturn launch. So he was working. He was working there. He closed for the night, and when his dues were done, he clocked out. And the manager had some odds and ends to finish up, so they stayed. And after he left, the package from Sega came in with the new console. So yeah, ours came in the middle of the day. That's strange. He did work the next day and had a nice surprise when he came in. I guess his boss had already played an import Saturn and liked it, so they were promoting it a lot in their store. But yeah, he also remembers there were only a few games like Clockwork Knight, and Bug were like the only non-launch games. And I think at our store, I could swear Clockwork Knight was a launch game. And I remember very well that Bug was like the first not launch game we got.
I don't remember Bug.
Yeah, it was good enough to get a sequel. There's a Bug 2. So I have Bug 2, but I don't have Bug, I think. Clickbait article about Genesis remakes. Wanted to mention that Gunstar Superheroes was released on GBA. Okay, interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Right, so they called it Gunstar Super. Maybe the writers wanted one-to-one remakes and not sequels, and did not know that Treasure is not known for making sequels. Interview with Limited Run Games. Really enjoyed the interview. Said they're also based out in North Carolina, like he is. So it's kind of a nice connection there. And all the drama about struggling to make pre-orders. He enjoyed. It was good to hear them explain how they are resolving some of the issues that arise from being a successful company. Yeah. Let's see here. I usually read emails in advance and I'm ready to talk, but today I am not because reasons. Want to recommend something called Batocera. How do you pronounce this, do you think? Batocera. It's a Linux distribution. And he was using it on an old netbook that he uses for emulators. Was using Laka before, which we have talked about. Mm-hmm. And it worked really well, but he wanted to try something new. He originally tried RetroPie on the laptop. And then after a few roadblocks, decided to try this thing called Batocera. I'm sure I'm not pronouncing it correctly. And had better luck. He said, unlike Laka, you can install Emulation Station to the hard drive versus running it off a thumb drive. So there you go.
Nice.
We are going to have to make this a topic, I guess.
Yeah, I'm looking at this now.
Yeah, have never used this. So thank you for that recommendation. Recommends playing the Lynx version of Rygar because it may not give me PTSD. I actually own Rygar for the Lynx. So, yeah. He also had the same experience of watching Final Fantasy VII instead of playing it. So there you go. He asked about the TurboGrafx 16 Mini. I think we're going to hold off because I think when you get a chance to play it, we're going to do a feature on our actual reviews of the TurboGrafx 16 Mini. I think I'm going to hold off talking about it for a little bit longer.
Mm-hmm.
For a little bit. The American TurboGrafx did not have a mouse, but the Japanese counterpart did. And it's one of the few things on his wish list that he does not have yet. Mostly to play Power Golf 2. Which I think I also own. 4-way versus 8-way joysticks. I forgot that we talked about this. So yeah, this is an issue with a lot of games. So new arcade games are mostly 8-way, but he does have some 16-1 PCBs, and 8-way does cause control issues on Pac-Man and Mr. Do.
Yep.
Yeah. Side note, so this is kind of interesting. He mentions a convention called Link Con in Merrill, Wisconsin. You don't know where, I know where that is. You don't know where that is, I bet.
I do not know where
I drive right by it every single year when I go up to the Northwoods. It is, for lack of a better term, a suburb of Wausau, Wisconsin. Have you been to, have you heard of Wausau, Wisconsin?
I don't know anything about Wisconsin other than Milwaukee.
Okay. So once you go like Milwaukee's the biggest city, and then pretty much straight west of Milwaukee is Madison, and Madison's the capital and the second biggest city, right? And those are still in the very kind of bottom portion of the state. So then if you drive straight north from Madison, you eventually get to Wausau, which is maybe the third or fourth biggest city in the state. Green Bay, which has a football franchise, I believe is not the third biggest. It might be fourth also. But Wausau is a town of about, I'd say the town itself is probably 50,000 people. It has a Starbucks and a Target. It's basically a town. It has a TV. It has one TV station. So if you're staying up north, you might get their one TV station on antenna. So Merrill is, again, for lack of a better term, a suburb of that city that is, it's maybe another 20 minutes north of Wausau. And I always assumed it was a town of about 0 people. So when he mentioned there's a convention of any kind there, I'm like, how is that even possible? But there is. So this is, I just had this page open. I'm such an idiot. Okay, because I misspelled it. So it's a tabletop event game, event, and it has retro games. So what they say here, it's in a bowling alley. So they take over the bowling alley in Merrill, Wisconsin, and set up, I don't know, looking at the picture, a dozen different game systems. There's like 2 or 3 vendors. It's small, but it's way larger than what I would expect to find in Merrill, Wisconsin.
Yeah, it's cool they do that.
Yeah. So last year, admission was $10, which includes a free slice of pizza.
Gotta love it.
But it's Wisconsin pizza, so... yeah, this is pretty cool. It's in August. So August is a good time to go up north in Wisconsin, man, because it's like bearable weather that time of year. Yeah, I've driven past this town twice a year because you have to drive past it, to get back home. And never once thought, man, I'm going to pull over in Merrill and see what they got. Mostly because Wausau is just a couple of minutes away, and that has like, again, Starbucks and stuff. Yeah, this is cool. I'm gonna be. I usually go up north around like early October, but I'm wondering if maybe this year I go up in summer because this looks pretty cool. I mean, it's tiny.
Yeah, swing by there.
Yeah, it's tiny, but it's maybe you get some crazy deal at the one vendor.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So that's dangerous. Thanks for getting me off topic to talk about small towns in northern Wisconsin.
Yeah. There's your Midwest section of the week.
Yeah.
And Joe writes in, we spoke about rage quitting games, and he probably quit a few in anger, but none that he can really remember. But he does remember the time his brother threw a copy of Ghostbusters for the Sega Master System all across the room because Gozer beat them again. And he still has it, and that crack is still in the cartridge case. And it's cool that Eternal Legends for Game Gear has a fan translation. It was previously patched for the Master System, and he hopes he could find a way to patch it and play it on an actual hardware. He tried out Virtua Fighter on 32X. He has to say it's a top shelf port, and it definitely shows what the 32X is capable of. And compared to Virtua Fighter 2 port for the stock Genesis, still a remarkable port. 32X doesn't look as good as the arcade, but he does think it's better than the Saturn port in a lot of ways. And definitely exceeds expectations, which I definitely agree with. I mean, you heard my reaction earlier. And then Kabuki Quantum Fighter, it's a game he's been interested in a while, primarily because it was so unique, and the protagonist uses hair like a weapon. It kind of blends, just like what I said, Batman and Ninja Gaiden. Yeah, it has great graphics and a quality soundtrack. So yeah, Joe and Majors, thanks for those emails. And if anyone else wants to email us, email at retrogameclub.net. And we also have some social media.
Yeah, we were asking about shareware demos that you would be willing to pay money for. And there's some demo discs for PS1 with great unlimited demos. Like Bushido Blade. The first level of Doom apparently was on one of these. It was the full first level or one of the first episode. I have to look for that. And then, okay, what's BF2? What game is he referring to? Battlefield 2, a game developed by Digital Illusions CE. So good. I've not actually heard of. I've probably heard of this game, but I've never played it. But I guess it has a good demo.
Nice. And Mega Ball for Amiga. I don't know that one. I'm looking it up right now.
Okay.
You guys are teaching us this time.
Yeah. Someone else mentions Jill of the Jungle, a game I've heard of. And he said he called up to order the full version and then hung up when he heard the price. I forget what that ended up I don't know what the final price was, but obviously more than he had in 1992, I want to say.
So, Mega Ball is Arkanoid.
Arkanoid.
Pretty much. And yeah, if you get a cool demo of it, yeah, I would definitely play this. I don't know about pay for it.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So thank you. And again, email at retrogameclub.net to talk about anything.
Yeah, all right. That wraps up episode 50, season 2, episode 18.
Yeah. Thanks for listening.